Hello and welcome to Phases the Next Level. I'm your host, Valette Sunshine, and I'm so excited to be here. I am so excited about the topic today. As if some of you saw the info before the interview, we talked a little bit about what the interview is going to be about, and so it is addiction. And today we have Regina here with us. Regina,
Hi.
so thank you for being here with me and for contacting me and being willing to tell your story. As we know, I am an advocate for substance abuse. I'm trying to help people get clean, trying to send them to the right avenues, trying to, just embrace them and let them know that they're not going to be judged and that there is help for them, and if they just would reach out but they have to want it. So anyway, we're going to start with a couple of questions, Regina, and really just basically I'm going to kind of go way back up until now and just kind of feel you out and see what you have. I'm excited about what you have to share with us. So we do know that addiction kind of begins with first it's a use, right? So people start using it maybe socially, and then socially becomes like I want some more today. So from 2 days a week till now 5 days a week until it turns into a true addiction. So when we look back over your life, how was your life growing up?
My life growing up was pretty rough. My mom is still an addict, pretty heavy in her addiction. She lives in Kansas City. I don't really have much contact with her due to her addiction. She gave us all up for adoption when we were little, but I reached out to her as an adult and tried to have a relationship with her, but it just didn't work that way. My adopted parents were actually my aunt and uncle,
Okay.
which was also not a good life for me, but I moved out when I was 18 and I kind of had it together for a while. I mean, I would socially do drugs periodically.
So just kind of what I said, kind of sociably, and then turns into something.
And then I fell out of drugs for a while. I had my kids, and I fell out of drugs for a while, and it wasn't until about 2015 that I really got heavy in my addiction again.
Okay. So I always like to ask about your past and your upbringing, because a lot of times things in our past and our childhood carries over into our adulthood, and they had never been addressed. And so sometimes we try to cover up by drinking, doing drugs, or whatever that case may be. And so do you feel like a lot of your upbringing had something to do with maybe you're even sociably trying to fit in or be loved or anything to that effect?
I do think that. My dad was murdered when I was 12, my real father. So I covered that up for a long time. I actually went to rehab in Colorado and kind of overcame that. But my adopted parents were molesters. And so for a long time I lived in a separate person almost. Like I hid in my mind, I hid myself from everything. And I did use the drugs to cover up a lot.
So you said they were molesters?
They molested
you
and my sister.
You and your sister?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, I could see where, if it's not addressed and you hold it in, that it could carry over to your adult life. And I'm glad you're here today, because when we talk about it, we kind of get to move forward.
Yes.
And you kind of get to help other people, because there are people stuck in their boxes and they're crying to speak out and they're scared.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see why that happened. So when the first time you did drugs, was it before all your kids were born?
Yeah, it was when I was 18, 17, 18, somewhere
Okay.
around there. I didn't have my first child till I was 23, so.
Well, that was good.
Yeah,
Considering
I did
your
it.
life,
Yeah,
right?
I did. I did not go
You
down
did
that
really
avenue,
good. So, when you did decide to say sociably, where were you? What happened? What was it, and what was the drug of choice at that point?
At that point, it was cocaine, and I had just moved out of my adopted parents' house. Like, I'd had enough. I actually ran away right before my 18th birthday. I ran away, and I just got mixed up in the wrong crowd where I moved to, and it was just fun. For once in my life, I was having fun. So that's kind of how it started.
And that's true. I don't know if you were able to look at some of my testimony. I shared just a little bit, and that's what I thought. I thought I was living the life.
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
was doing my thing, and I had money, and I was, and the people embraced me. And so that can cause issues for us too, especially if we're not strong enough, right? So then so you became pregnant. That made you stop the first time?
Yes.
Okay. And so for how long were you clean? let me ask you this. So you stopped because you became pregnant?
I stopped because I was pregnant, because I was having a baby, because I wanted a different life.
Mm-hmm.
But I would have periods in between my children where I would socially do drugs, you know, after I have my oldest son. I might experiment with new things every now and then, but I never really got heavy into it again until my 2015 when I divorced I was separated from my husband.
Okay. So we know that, first of all, I want to say that everything that we talk about here in Phases is stuff that, you know, maybe even, it's either experiences or it's either research that we've done, okay? And so I'm not a counselor and all that stuff. I just want to be, Phases is out to put drugs and abuse in the forefront because it's so detrimental to everybody's lives because it's affecting everybody
Sure is.
one way or the other, people that you wouldn't even think. So, and everybody needs to hear your story. A lot of times there, you know, we do things and that we regret, but then we get so far into it that we can't come out of it.
Sure.
After, you know, the in-between, let's move all the way back up. Let's move up to 2015.
Okay.
In 2015, what happened? Was it something that happened in between your kids, or was it because the periods in between your kids that in 2015, you know?
No, in 2015, I was married. I was happily married. Me and my husband were married for 6 years. It just got to be where I couldn't keep up with everything. I had a full-time job. I managed a home health here in Bartlesville. I had 6 kids between me and my husband. We had a house mortgage to pay. We had car payments to
It's a
pay.
lot.
It got so overwhelming that I couldn't keep up, and I knew from the past that if I used a substance, I would have that energy to keep up with everything every day. And it worked for a while. For a while, I was able to maintain a job, but it quickly took over
Right.
without me even knowing it was taking over.
Right. I want to talk about relationships because substance abuse really breaks down relationships.
It does.
You said that you really didn't have a relationship with your real parents, and then you had adopted parents. But what about your children and your relationships with your children during drug use, before, after? You know, what was your relationships? Because I know that substance causes, you know, healthy relationships to deter. They're gone. And it's not because you want that to happen, but the drug has taken over.
Sure.
So what about your relationships?
My relationship with my kids was also good till 2015, and I think that's because I was able to still manage my life until then, and they didn't know.
I was gonna say, so you could hide it from them.
Yes,
Yeah.
they didn't know. I mean, they didn't find out about my drug use until I admitted myself to rehab in Colorado.
Okay.
That's when I had to tell them. But even after rehab, it got really bad, and it took all my children from me.
When did you go to rehab?
I went to rehab in October of 2015.
Okay, all right. Before rehab, did you ever try to stop on your own?
I always talked about it, but never did
But
it.
you never made the effort to do it?
No.
So do you believe that people can quit on their own? Or do you believe that it really has to be a treatment and a want?
I am doing it on my own now. I haven't been to treatment since October 2015, but I'm doing it on my own now. But there's a lot of steps I'm having to take to do that.
You do, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sober living, meetings 4 times a week,
Mhm.
just
So let's talk
Choice.
about, yeah, it's choices. Let's talk about sober living. Where are you? I mean, so is that what you're doing now? You're in a facility?
yes, I'm in the Serenity House here in Bartlesville,
Okay.
and there's about 14, 15 other people living in this house.
Wow.
So all of us are on the same path of sobriety. Some of us have a lot longer than others, but the goal for the house is, you know, to maintain sobriety until we feel like we're strong enough to go back out there and get our lives together on our own.
You know, that's a huge blessing for someone to have a place like that for you guys to come. The important thing is that whenever you are in your process of being sober, that you have to watch out who you hang around with. You have to watch out of your environment. And so I think sober living is healthy because everyone is on the same page.
Yes,
Like
it
people
is.
are really striving and really trying to stay sober and do everything they have to do. So, I just hope that you can remember to, you know, just stay around the right people.
I've actually cut out, I really don't have any friends from my past. I have a few that I'll talk to periodically, but they know the limits, they know what I'm trying to do, and they're the few friends that will not allow me to get high.
Yeah.
Other than that, my friends are the people in the house, like,
So, you know, we talk about relationships, and it's so true. when you're doing something different than somebody else, like you had those friends that you did drugs with, you know you can't be around those people.
Right.
And so then you lose all those people because they ain't trying to hear what you're talking about,
No.
right? And so I think sober living is amazing for you, and for anybody that's trying to do, trying to get clean. Because we know that addiction is a chronic disease, I want you to share some of your experiences about what you went through. Like, were there any legal issues? You said you lost your kids. I'm going to stop talking for a bit and give you a chance. Just tell us your story, your truth.
Well, like I said, I worked at a home health. I managed a home health here in Bartlesville for 9 years. I worked there. I'm doing really well. My husband actually had an intervention with me, with my bosses, and I went to rehab. That's why I went to rehab in the beginning. When I got back, I still was on the same stuff, and they did a urine test, and I lost my job.
And was it meth?
Yes,
it the
meth.
Okay.
I lost my job in 9 years, so that kind of started everything. I lost my house, I lost my cars, I lost my husband, and then I didn't lose my kids, but I chose to give them to their dads,
In a safe.
to let them live with their dads because I was on a bad path.
Yeah.
So
I think that's responsible.
yeah, I'm thankful that I did not lose them to the courts and that they didn't get put somewhere else. So that was my decision, but I have them back now. So
Yay. It's tough.
it is tough. It's been a long battle, but
You have all
luckily,
of them back?
I have them all back. My daughter finished her treatment program. My youngest one still lives with her dad, but she stays with me 3 to 4 times a week.
That's good.
We are pretty well with exchanging her whenever she wants to come over.
Good. So any other of your children use drugs, and do you blame yourself for it, if so? Or had they?
My oldest son just turned 19, and he got caught smoking weed at the Osage Hills Park with his girlfriend. It scared him straight. Like, he's never done it again.
Good.
My 16-year-old daughter, however, she went down the road with me. Her dad is in prison, and she really didn't have anywhere else to go, so she was with me right there the whole time. She met a girl who she fell in love with, who, kind of took my spot when I was absent.
Right.
And they just went down a bad path together, got in a lot of legal trouble.
Okay.
I didn't know that my daughter was also using meth. I thought she was depressed because of her relationship.
Right.
And by the time I found out, she was already gone.
It's tough, and the tears tells me that you love your
Yeah.
kids, and we make decisions that we really are sorry for. I've done it, although it was before I had my children, but I still have my nephews that depended on me. They were little, and every time I think about it, it's tough
It is.
to leave, them and your kids, because they don't ask to be here. And so, I commend you for that.
Thank you.
So, did you go to jail? Did you ever get in?
I actually did not get, I don't know how I steered clear of
legal
legal trouble, but I did not get in any trouble. I was, and it's not because I didn't do my share of things to get in trouble.
One of the lucky ones.
I was one of the lucky ones who never, and it might catch up with me now. I don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always things from the past that can come back to get you.
Well, we just hope that.
Yeah, I just pray every day that it doesn't.
Just keep.
But, yeah, I didn't get any legal trouble.
That's good.
My daughter did, however, but,
So when your daughter went through her stuff, where were you? I mean, were you able to stay in touch with her and help her along this path?
you know what? I was there for her as much as I could be, although I was still not sober.
Okay, so you
I
still weren't
wasn't
sober.
100% there for her like I could have been. Towards the end of her stay, yeah, I got to be where I was there on the weekends with her, and then I did visits with her.
Good.
I never missed phone calls with her.
Yeah.
We always had phone calls, and I never told her what was going on outside here
Right.
with me because I wanted her to focus
That's
on her
right.
treatment. But
That's right.
I always kept contact with her, and we never fell out.
Yeah.
And we're stronger now because of it.
Good. And so, Regina, tell me, what was the end point for you? What was the bottom in that? Because today we want to celebrate you for 50 days sober.
Yes.
50 days sober.
I never thought that would happen.
50 days is a big deal.
It is.
So congratulations.
Thank
And
you.
it's today, right?
Yes,
So
today.
congratulations.
Thank you.
So tell me, what was your bottom and you were done? You said, I'm done and I need help and I got to get away from what I'm doing.
Well, my bottom started at I moved with my boyfriend to Hooker, Oklahoma, which is in the Panhandle, and we moved there so I could get clean off the needle because I was using the needle at that time. and I was able to do that, but I was still smoking meth.
The needles meth too? You were
Yes.
doing meth both ways? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it was really bad there. We ended up moving in with our dealer,
Oh, gosh.
and yeah,
That was horrible.
that was but it was the only place we had to go.
Okay.
So we moved in with the dealer, and it got really out of hand, and the guilt of not having my kids with me there, it killed me. Every day I felt so guilty, to the point where I finally did move back here. And then when I moved back here, I really moved here with no plan at all. I mean, I wasn't talking to anybody from here. I just didn't have a plan at all. So me and my boyfriend and my oldest son or my youngest son that was living with us moved to a house here in Bartlesville, and we had no heat, no water, no electricity. It was freezing cold.
How old was your son?
13.
How long you been here? Back?
I've been back for almost 2 months.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, but
So he was in the drug dealer's house with y'all?
he was,
Okay.
yeah, and
okay.
and he was in the house here with us with no heat, no power, no nothing. We would just we had little propane heaters that we used to keep warm. But my kids weren't able to go to the bathroom there. I wasn't
Right.
able to bring my other kids there. I just I'd had enough at that point.
Yeah. That's rock bottom.
That's rock bottom, yeah. That and I had lived with Michelle, the owner of the Serenity House, before and been kicked out. Me and her son were best friends, and we were out using, and she kicked me out. So I had
As
to
she
crawl
should,
back.
right?
As she should, yes, it is a sober house.
Because she wouldn't be able to help you
Right.
otherwise, okay?
So I had to swallow my pride and ask her if I could have another chance to live there. And that was the day I moved in there, 50 days ago.
She seems like an amazing
She is an
person.
amazing
and she
woman.
can't hardly tell you no, but like she obviously cares.
She does. She's
you
a
know,
great
and
woman.
Try not to let her down and let
Yeah.
yourself down and your kids.
Yeah.
So
I'm
50
really-
days there at the house too?
Yeah, the day I moved there is the day I got sober, so
Where's the boyfriend?
he's still there.
At the sober house?
Mhm.
So you guys are together?
50 days
And
sober
he's
for him.
50?
Yeah, we're both sober.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So what are you doing to stay sober, other than living in the sobriety house? Because you got to work, you got to live. You know how does that work?
Well, I guess the main way I stay sober is just by keeping myself busy, where I don't have idle time on my hands to think about it or to. I have bad days, but
Yeah.
I'm headstrong right now. Like, I don't want to lose my kids again. I don't want my kids' lives to be torn apart. I don't
Yes.
want my life torn apart anymore. And
It's enough.
yeah,
It's enough.
it was just that
When
point.
you have your days, what are your trigger points, and do you identify those trigger points and fight it? Obviously, it's been 50 days, but do you recognize what a trigger point is?
I do. Most of the time, my trigger point is just listening to everybody else's drama or
I
the
get that.
constant
And you just want away.
turmoil of other people, maybe who aren't as strong with it as some of us are. But
That's-
I just go upstairs to my room. It's quiet.
That's what you do.
Yeah, my
I was gonna
room
say.
is real quiet. You can't
Mhm.
hear all this stuff downstairs.
Good.
So I just shut the door, turn the TV on or the music, and
and
do
get
that.
away from it.
And,
Because you'd rather do that than get away from it by using. You can't
Sure.
afford to lose your kids again. And
No.
You can't afford to lose your sobriety again. You're 50 days is in. You're
Yeah,
in.
I know.
You just
I'm
gotta
happy
keep
about it.
Yeah. So have you, and I don't want to throw my higher power on you or nothing, but I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Do you have that belief?
I do. I've always had that belief. I mean, I know that there's times where I didn't believe in him enough, and felt like he wasn't there for me, even though he was. But I was brought up
Good.
in a Catholic home, and
Oh, okay.
all my kids have been baptized Catholic, and we are very much into the Lord. We don't practice it as much as we should, but
But you
with my recovery, I plan on
Yes,
bringing
and
it
I
back
would
in
I
my
would
life.
suggest sooner than later, because that's what helps you.
Sure.
Helps you a long way. Getting around those kind of people.
Sure.
I don't care where it is, where you go. If you can find somewhere for you and your kids. But
Mhm.
I think the most important thing is to say stay sober and keep your kids together and keep your your sobriety. So then, what are you? And I may ask you this now. What are you doing to stay sober and to make your pathway for your future? What are your future plans, and how do you plan to get out of the sober house and be able to do it?
Well, what I'm doing now is, right now I'm just working and trying to prepare myself to go back to school. I actually have 41 credits at Oklahoma Wesleyan,
Good.
before I got into my addiction.
I graduated from there.
Yeah,
That's
I love
good.
that school.
That's good.
So I want to finish my degree, and I'm just going to a lot of NA meetings every week and doing my step work out of my books at home. And in my spare time, that's pretty much what I'm doing, spending time with the kids.
Yes.
We're all there together. We do different things together.
So the kids all get to live with you there too?
Yeah, my oldest daughter lives there with me, and my youngest son. Of course, my oldest son has moved out on his own,
Good.
and my youngest daughter comes with me 3 to 4 times a week.
Okay.
We have a pretty good sized room upstairs set up for all of us, and
Good.
so yeah, we're all there together.
That's good and it's safe.
Yes,
There's
and I feel very
heat,
safe.
there's water, there's,
And a lot of people to love them,
Yeah.
because they all love my kids. But
well, good. I'm
So-
glad to hear that.
yeah,
That's good. Okay, so, okay, this is a good one. So I wanted to make sure I asked these questions, that's why I wrote these down. So, there's people out there that are using drugs, and they want to tell their story, they're scared. What do you have for them? What can you best give them that gets them outside of that box? Because I feel like once they're out, that's their journey to being sober or getting sober. They're scared though.
yeah. Being scared is probably the hardest part.
Getting over the fear.
Getting over the fear is always going to be the hardest part. Once they do, though, that fear is no longer, and a lot of things are relieved when that fear is gone. When I told my story for the first time, I couldn't believe. I never would understand how that feeling is to get your story out and off your chest, and not to have to lie or keep it a secret
It's your
anymore.
truth.
It's freedom.
Yes.
It's just the freedom
It,
that
it releases you.
exactly.
Totally. And I always, I was asked to share my story in 2007, and I couldn't do it. I wasn't ready. I have to do it. You have to do it when you're ready to do it, but you
Sure.
have to know that it's to help somebody, and then God will give you that time. I was just glad that you reached out. I just can look at people and kind of know they got something to say, but they're scared. And they're
Yeah.
scared to do it. And I think being afraid keeps them in bondage. And you don't want to be that. And you don't want to lie about what you did. If you shot meth, that's what you did. If you smoked meth, that's what you did. Because if you lie, then you can't get past it.
Right.
And then who does that help? By you
No
lying.
one.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anything else you want to share about your story or about your life on meth or your children or anything that
No,
was
I think
scary? Any scary situations?
I mean, the whole life in that time was scary. Everything was scary. I was always scared going to jail. I was always scared of not making it, overdosing, or
Had you ever gotten close to overdose?
no, I never did. I was always too scared to do too much, though.
Yeah,
So I still had that in me.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of things. I was scared that my daughter went down the path, so I was scared that she might not make it home. There was a lot of
That's
things I was
tough.
scared of. Yeah, my daughter was the scariest part for me,
Okay.
even more scary than myself, so because she did live a lot more wild drug life than I did, and there was many nights I'd lay there and wonder if she was coming home. So,
And at such a young age, but as parents, we worry about our children, regardless, whether they're doing drugs or not. You constantly worry about them because you can't be with them 24 hours to protect them. And so you worry about them, but at such a young age, and I'm waiting on her too, so. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm thankful that you came. Phases is created I've created a platform for individuals like yourself to come and share, and I hope that you'll share with others and continue to share your story, because it's important that you do share so that people can
Sure.
heal. And then if you know anyone that needs help, you should always talk to them when you can. But I also talked to another lady on meth, and she said that during her use that, like, I could be sitting here talking to you, and if you were not ready to be done, you could see right through me. You don't hear anything I'm saying. People trying to tell you what's right. You sit and listen, but you don't care about that because
That's
that's not
right.
where you are. And that's true. You find that to be true.
that is true.
That's the
I'm
hard.
not there anymore, but I know exactly what you're talking
Like,
about.
I'm sitting here, I'm saying,
Yeah.
Regina, come on now. This is what's best for you. I want you to come with me, and I want you to get help. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
sit
can't make
there.
anybody be ready.
You can't.
No.
You
It
can't. They
has to
have
be
to be
when
ready.
when it's their time. And
We can want it bad for them, but they have to want it as bad.
Sure. I mean, I heard that story from many people. It's time, it's time, it's time. But, I knew it was time when I knew it was time. And I wallowed around down there on the rock bottom for a while, and still it wasn't my time.
Yeah.
But it's my time now, and that's why I'm choosing to share my story.
Yay, I'm glad you shared your story. If you ever need me, call me.
All right.
I'm
thank
always
you.
here, okay?
All right.
All right, thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. You guys, thank you for being with us. I'm so excited. We shed a little tears, but that's okay. Tears are healing. So I enjoyed you, Regina.
Thank you.
And I hope that I get to talk to you soon. I will follow you on your journey, and I will continue to pray for you.
Thank you.
You guys say your prayers. Have a good day, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.